Hi everyone, we are officially here to do a birth story. She is 7 weeks old, so we are just a little bit behind. So I'm going to try and capture all of the points, but first we have to see the baby that brought all of this on. Here's Violet. She's getting kind of fussy. And oh, her little body. She's getting kind of big. She's 8.6 pounds today and she's 7 weeks old today. So I figured, why not do the birth video today? Okay, so with her birth, we were actually going to be induced February 19th. We weren't technically being induced. We were brought in to do Cervidil, and Cervidil is super funky. I had done it one dose with one of the other previous pregnancies, I can't remember. One dose. With her, they did multiple doses throughout the night. In the morning, my cervix, I think, was at 7 o'clock, 7:10, they broke my water, Dr. Fong did. They broke my water, started the Pitocin, got everything rolling, and my plan the whole time was to not have an epidural, to go as natural as possible, to have my doula there, which is actually my sister-in-law. We had a birth photographer. Everything was lined up, good to go, right? So they checked my cervix around 9-ish, 9:15, and it was like a 5. It was still pretty high 5, because I kept telling the nurse that I felt like I had to push. And granted, that was from 7 to 9, so it was not that long, but it was like a 5, and I hadn't had that epidural yet. I was trying to get through it all by myself. Michael, I love him to death, but his vibe during the labor was a no-go. My nurse, though, at the hospital was phenomenal. She was constantly with me, helping me through the pain, because I told Michael to get a hold of his sister when we knew the time was about right, which is probably around then. He didn't. I guess he didn't get the hint because I couldn't speak through the pain. And then, so around 9:30, I told the nurse that I couldn't do it anymore. I needed the epidural. I was like, I need it. And she came back in to tell me that she was so sorry that the anesthesiologist had literally just went into a C-section. And there's only one, because our hospital is strictly a birth hospital. There's nothing else going on. And so I had to wait, and I literally kept looking at the clock, trying to make it go faster because I wanted that epidural. It hurt so freaking bad. And if you've ever been through labor, you know, it hurts really badly. And she is like, she wasn't coming, and the nurse finally went and found her, because she had just gotten out, and they came in, and it was probably about another 10 minutes, and this is probably about 10:20ish, about 10:20ish, and she walked out for some reason. I never found out why, but then she came back in, and they were gearing me up. I was on the side of the bed, pretty fast. This is from 7 to almost 10:30, so they were gearing me up. I was on the side of the bed. She was taping off my back, getting that like soap stuff going on, literally about to insert the needle. But while she was doing that, like I said before, I kept having to push, and I think you guys know where I'm going. I kept having to push, and the first push I kept remembering to remind myself that the nurse said do not push, because not even an hour before my cervix was a 5, and she's like, you'll rip your cervix if you keep pushing. Stop pushing. So I tried not to push. The second push, I was like, screw it. My body is doing what it's needing to do. And so I pushed. The third push, the contraction, you know, every push is like with a contraction. The third push, I literally, I was still sitting on the bed. She was about to insert the needle in my back. I literally felt Violet's head hit the bed. And I screamed at the nurse, she's coming! She's literally coming! And so the nurse, the anesthesiologist, had to push everything away real quick because she was literally about to insert it in my back. Had to push it away real quick. Nurse had pushed me back onto the anesthesiologist, and my nurse delivered her. And they estimated her time of arrival at 10:30 because we truthfully don't know when she arrived in that span of time. So my labor with her went super, super fast compared to the boys. It was about 3.5 hours. And whenever the nurse, caught her, she wasn't crying. And they had to call on the intercom, "We need doctor now, we need nursery, we need everybody," because we didn't have anything in there. It was my nurse, Michael, and my anesthesiologist. Before the anesthesiologist had gotten there, my mom had just arrived, and they kicked her out so they could do it real quick. So she was outside smoking, waiting to come back in, because she's always been there for delivery, and with her, she wasn't, which kind of still makes me a little sad. And my birth photographer wasn't there, nobody was there. And my doctor walks in, he was like, "Well, she just had to make everything different, didn't she?" And during that time, I was still in shock. Like, I was in complete shock, because the feeling of having them naturally is really indescribable. It is the feeling that, of course it hurt. They have the, when the head comes out and the rest of the body does, I can't remember what it's called, the ring of fire. That hurt so badly, but not as much as I thought it was. And I feel pretty, I'm not gonna lie, pretty badass for doing it all naturally. It kind of wasn't my choice, but it was something that I wanted to do, and I'm so happy that due to the circumstances, it happened. Because I don't think if the anesthesiologist would have been there anytime sooner, of course I would have had the epidural, and who knows what would have happened. It may have stalled my labor, you never know. So she was born. She was 6 pounds, 9 ounces, and 19 inches long. And tiny little thing, she's the smallest out of all 4 kids. That was a big, big surprise. Because she's still in newborn. She's still in a newborn diaper. She's finally 8 pounds, 6 ounces. When we were in the hospital, she kept having blood sugar issues. I was not able to breastfeed due to a lot of work, lactation consultants, everything. But she's amazing. We had a rough bit with jaundice. When we came home, we had to do the lights for 6 days, and they did nothing until we resorted to formula, and that one night of formula brought her levels up so much that we were able to get off of the lights. And that was the last resort that I was going to try, and I wish I'd have tried it sooner, because it would have just been a lot smoother week coming home. But she is gorgeous, and I wish I would have done it a little bit sooner, because then you could have actually seen how tiny she was, because now she's so big. She's as big as my third was coming out. And she's so cute. She's got a little bit of hair. She's very alert. She does not like to sleep at night. Last night was really rough. And then she's loved, James loves her to death. He is definitely a great big brother. Elijah says, "She's so cute," and he'll just kind of pet her head. Silas is finally coming to terms with having a baby sister, not being the baby anymore. He last night finally kissed her for the first time, and that was a big moment, because now he's kissing her 24/7. And we tell them, you can't kiss the open parts of her body, like her mouth, her eyes, her nose, but you can kiss her head, her tummy, everywhere else, just not, the open extremities, so she doesn't get sick. And they've done so well. They've done well with being nice and sweet and super helpful. That's about it. My birth was definitely different. It took a while to comprehend, because it was so sudden and crazy, and my doctor didn't deliver her. It's different. He delivered this placenta, and they got all the goop out of her mouth, all that mucusy stuff, and that's why she wasn't crying at first. But she's great. Yeah. She's so good. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will probably be back with something else.